Welcome to today's explainer. Picture this for a second. You're an AI scientist standing right in the middle of a bustling research lab. We're at a totally critical juncture in how we actually build the brains of large language models. See, for years, we've relied heavily on something called next token prediction. That's essentially teaching models by having them guess the next word in just a massive, massive sea of text. But you know that era? It's evolving. So today, our goal is to demystify a really complex and honestly fascinating shift happening in our training pipelines. We're moving from simple next token prediction to RLP, which stands for Reinforcement as a Pre-Training Objective. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. The AI Scientist's Challenge, 2. Crafting the Optimal Blend, 3. The Next Token Prediction Wall, 4. Inside the RLP Algorithm, 5. Measuring information gain rewards, and finally, 6. The Hybrid Architecture Future.
Starting off with Section 1, the AI Scientist's Challenge, hitting the data wall. Now, to understand exactly why we are changing our algorithms, we really have to look at the fuel we feed them, which is data. The research group Epoch AI ran this analysis recently that basically has every single AI scientist paying attention. They projected that by somewhere around 2030, our language models will have consumed over 95% of all human-generated data. Let that sink in for a second. We're currently training models on tens of trillions of tokens, pulling from literally every book, web page, and paper available to us.
And this brings us to the ultimate dilemma, right? If models learn by consuming these massive amounts of human text, how on earth do we keep making them smarter when the text runs out? Well, the answer is that we absolutely have to stop just feeding them more data, and we have to start feeding them smarter. We need to fundamentally change how the model actually learns from the data it already has. In the lab, we use this 4-part baseline recipe to squeeze out every drop of intelligence and build state-of-the-art, or SOTA, language models. First, you need smart data. It has to be high quality and diverse. Second, you need smart architecture. So we're evolving from standard transformers to Mamba 2 hybrids. Third, you need smart collaboration across all your research and engineering teams. But most importantly for us today, you need smart algorithms. We desperately need these advanced training recipes that teach models to do so much more than just passively read text. Which brings us to Section 2, Crafting the Optimal Blend, our data pipeline. Because before we even try to introduce active reasoning algorithms, we have to absolutely perfect what we're feeding the model. Creating this optimal blend of data is a meticulous scientific process, and it's a crucial first step before we teach the model how to think. So here is exactly how our optimal pipeline works in the lab. Step 1 is quality estimation. We use these automated classifiers like FineWeb-Edu to score web crawl documents on a scale of 1 to 5 based purely on their educational value. Stuff with higher quality naturally gets weighed more heavily. Step 2 is epoch estimation. Basically, how many times should a model read the exact same math dataset? We run what are called ablation studies, testing 1 repeat, then 2, then 4, just to find the exact mathematical threshold where the data stops giving us any downstream gains. And finally, step 3 is our 2-phase curriculum. In phase 1, we show the model a massively diverse mixture just to build a broad foundation. Then in phase 2, we restrict its diet strictly to high-quality data like math, code, and Wikipedia. Moving right along to Section 3, the next token prediction wall, a paradigm shift. We've got our perfect, clean data pipeline, but here is the real climax of our narrative. Even with the absolute best data in the world, we're hitting a ceiling with vanilla pre-training. We are shifting away from passive learning to a completely new paradigm.
Let's anchor this technical shift with an analogy that makes it super intuitive. Think of standard pre-training like the Bolt method. Bolt watches hundreds of videos of magnificent suspension bridges and tries to build one, but he structurally fails because, well, he only passively observed them. In standard pre-training, if the context is about photosynthesis, the model just uses pattern matching to guess the next token, sunlight. Now, look at the Leo method. This is RLP, reinforcement as a pre-training objective. Leo learns by doing. He actually gets down, plays with blocks, builds a simple bridge, and tests if a little toy car can cross it. In RLP training, instead of just blurting out the word sunlight, the model explores its own thoughts. It generates these explicit reasoning traces, like, photosynthesis relies on solar energy, before it even predicts the next word. It's learning by thinking, not just observing.
All right, Section 4, inside the RLP algorithm, the mechanics of thought. Now, what's really fascinating here is the architectural mechanics going on under the hood. How do we actually mathematically force a model to think for itself during pre-training? Let's take a look inside the algorithm.
In RLP, we essentially have two pathways working at the exact same time. The first pathway is the thought policy. We give the model a prompt, then some input context, and we give it the chance to do rollouts. It generates explicit reasoning traces, actual thoughts, and then it calculates the probability of the next token. We call this probability p theta. Simultaneously, we pass that exact same input over to a no-think baseline. This is your standard next token predictor. It doesn't get to reason at all. It just looks at the context and spits out its probability for the next word. We call this one p phi. So we end up with a thought-driven prediction and a standard baseline prediction.
But wait, before we compare those two predictions, there's a vital little engineering trick we use on the no-think baseline. We update it using an exponential moving average, or EMA for short. We intentionally lag the baseline slightly behind the main thought policy. Why do we do that? Well, because we need the baseline to be current enough to provide a fair comparison, but delayed just enough to stop the model from engaging in cheeky reward hacking. If they updated at the exact same time, the model would just figure out how to cheat the math rather than actually improving its reasoning skills. Let's look at Section 5, Measuring Information Gain Rewards. So with our thought policy generating p theta and our cleverly delayed baseline generating p phi, we transition into the really fascinating math that powers this whole learning by doing method. How do we actually reward the model for having good thoughts? So the absolutely crucial point here is the information gain reward. The math is actually beautifully simple. It's the log of p theta minus the log of p phi. Basically, we take the probability of the next token when the model actually thought about it, and we subtract the probability of the next token when it didn't. If the thought the model generated was just total garbage or unhelpful, this reward will be 0, or maybe even negative. But if the thought genuinely helped the model predict that next word more accurately, boom, the reward is positive. This mathematical filter naturally rewards actual solid reasoning and completely punishes useless text. Now, you might be wondering, haven't we tried reinforcement pre-training before? And yes, we have, with older methods like RPT and RLPT. But look at why our information gain approach completely blows them out of the water. First, it's verifier-free. Older methods required entirely separate external models just to judge if a text was good. Second, it's a dense reward. Older methods gave this really sparse binary yes or no score at the very end of a task. Our method applies a dense, continuous, math-based reward to every single token. It transparently captures the entire reasoning signal, making the why of the answer highly visible and super trainable. Which leads us to our final section, Section 6, the hybrid architecture future, scaling up. The math is definitely elegant, but how does this actually perform in the lab? Let's shift our focus to some jaw-dropping empirical results and see how this algorithmic shift scales up to future, massive models and totally new hybrid architectures. To truly test this out, researchers compared RLP against standard next token prediction on a QWen 1.7 billion parameter model. But to make it totally fair, they matched the computing power, the flops. Because RLP takes more compute to generate those thoughts, 170 million tokens of RLP equals the exact same compute as 6 billion tokens of standard prediction. Check out the massive gap in data required here. Even when the standard method is exposed to 35 times more data, RLP still outperforms it by a 14% average gain. It just learns better foundational reasoning that survives even after we do standard fine-tuning later on. And this brilliantly illustrates what happens when we really scale things up. Notice this massive performance jump. This is an intermediate checkpoint test on a cutting-edge Nemotron 12 billion parameter model. And this isn't just your standard transformer, it's a hybrid Mamba 2 architecture. The baseline model was trained on a staggering 20 trillion tokens. But the RLP model, it was trained on 19.8 trillion tokens, plus just 250 million tokens of RLP. Despite seeing nearly 200 billion fewer tokens overall, the RLP model achieved a massive 35% relative performance boost, especially in really complex domains like science.
As Srimai, an AI scientist at Mistral and NVIDIA who presented this very research at Stanford, noted, the benefits of RLP persist and maybe even amplify when scaling to larger models and across architectures. By forcing the model to explicitly generate these reasoning traces in the pre-training phase, we aren't just memorizing text anymore. We are literally embedding a durable capacity for logic directly into the model's foundation. Which leaves us with this final, profound question to consider. As we rapidly approach the absolute limit of human-generated data on the internet, will the next generation of AI intelligence be defined not by how much data we feed it, but by how we teach it to reason from scratch?
By moving from passive next token prediction to active, thoughtful pre-training algorithms like RLP, we're opening up a completely new access for scaling intelligence. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.